family, how y'all doing? Yeah, I'm John the Don. For those that's not familiar with me, I'm a battle rapper, also a recording artist, and I also have my own battle rap league actually in Atlanta. You know, I've been following Synetta TV. I'm familiar with, you know, Divine Prospect.
Hope y'all didn't come here to go to sleep tonight.
No, we didn't.
Because we have to wake you up. I just actually did this morning. So forgive me if it looks a little rugged, but I put it together this morning because I was at the event yesterday and heard a lot of good information. But I said to myself, how are we globalizing this?
That's right.
How can we get the international community, more particularly that big continent you see right there, involved in what's going on locally? Family, anytime you go to your oppressor for remedy and recourse, you're not gonna get good results. How many of y'all know that?
We know it.
How many of those black girls are missing in Washington, D.C. right now? And if you read the CNN report, they went to the FBI. FBI said, we have no comment. But that's your highest level of law enforcement that should be involved in looking for black girls. But if it was Caucasian girls that were missing, over 65,000 of them. And the last one was a 10-year-old and no Amber Alert went out for her. Did y'all know that?
No, we didn't. We know that now.
But do you think the international community is concerned with this? You know why? Because we're not bringing it to them. So you can talk about black power all you want, but power is global, family. The oppressor is global. We gotta be global. Black power?
Black power.
All right, just wanna make sure. All right, let's go to the first slide. But before we do, go back, Bujaba. Before we do, as you can see, I have the U.S. Now, I wish the whole U.S. was pumping this right here, red, black, and green.
Right.
Maybe one day we could wake up to 45 million so-called African Americans, wake them up to identify who they really are.
It's gonna happen.
But the power, as you can see, has to be the connection with those who equally minded in the continent of Africa.
That's right.
Because a lot of them also have been brainwashed to not like us, to not support us.
Right.
But we got to see the ones who are, we got to know how to work with them.
Teach.
All right, family?
Teach.
All right, hold on. Let's go. I got a time limit, so I want to respect the time. Hit my stopwatch. All right, first slide. Let's go. Globalizing Black Power. Now, because this is a short lecture, I couldn't go into everything, but to the family out there, you can definitely go to my YouTube channel, which is Kingdom Harbinger Ministries on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can see a lot of the solution-based videos that I have on there. But today, what I wanted to do was just compact it into a few points, and I'm going to go into these few points. So can y'all give me a little bit of time, and I can go through this with y'all?
Take your time.
All right, cool. All right, well, John, we'll hit the first point. First point, create a GSO charter with a reference to the UN Resolution 6916 to gain international human rights protection from injustice, lack of education, lack of employment, poverty, poor health, and housing, and to provide support to black communities. Now, how many of y'all are familiar with what I just said right there? Raise your hand. 3 people. That's it. That's not good, family. All of us should know what this is so we can have access to it for everything that's going on to our day-to-day lives. Does anybody know what a GSO is? Raise your hand. Yell it out. What is a GSO? You see? And we have none in our communities, family. And we wonder why we can't go nowhere. We have to know these terms, be familiarized with them, and utilize them for our benefit. All right? How many of you know about the UN Resolution 69/16? Raise your hand. Again, nobody. It's not good, family. But after this, you're going to be empowered. Ashe? All right. Hit the next slide. Join the UN Fellowship Program for People of African Descent. How many of y'all knew about this program? Raise your hand. Exactly. You see? So we have a Black Power, Black Empowerment Conference, but yet we're not accessing the things that's really going to give us power, family. But I'm going to teach y'all today. I'm going to help you. I'm going to equip y'all. I'm going to give you all the tools that you need so as soon as you finish watching the presentation, you can go out tomorrow and access this. Got it?
Yep.
Are y'all awake? You're following me? All right, I'm telling you, this is going to benefit y'all. Next slide. Next point. Develop IP, which is your intellectual property, products, goods, or services as a body politic community or organization to engage in international trade agreements with what? With who? African national governments. How many of us here have contracts with African national governments? But yet you want to arm yourselves and fight against the U.S. How's that going to work? How many of y'all got a manufacturing plant here? Raise your hand. How many of y'all work on an assembly line here? Raise your hand. How many of y'all got your own farms in your backyard? Raise your hand. So we don't have none of these tools, but we say we're going to go fight a battle or fight a war. How's that going to work? How are we going to sustain that? Guerrilla warfare can only take you so far when they have technology, family. So what we have to do is we have to tap into other resources so that way we have other people watching our backs because they have a vested interest in our survival. You got it? Hit the next point. Contact, join, and participate in the African Union, the Diaspora Division. How many of y'all knew that there was a Diaspora Division working on the 6th region, which is all Africans that have been displaced from Africa in the African Union? Raise your hand. Nobody. You see where the conversation needs to go globally, family? Are y'all following me?
Yes. Yes.
To expand community organizational resources and assist with the development of Africa. We said we Pan-African, love Africa, but how many of y'all are invested in the economic, political, and social growth of Africans in Africa? Raise your hand. You got one person. We gotta step it up, family. But hopefully this will help y'all. What'd you say?
Building a clinic in Ghana.
Building a clinic in Ghana. And again, I wish I had more time, but if you go back to my YouTube channel, I talk about how you can also repatriate to Ghana and get dual citizenship to do so. So, let's go to the next slide. What makes this possible? We need an ideology or concept to make everything that I just say possible because it works on both ends of the spectrum. Hit the slide. Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism is a worldwide intellectual movement that aims to encourage and strengthen bonds of solidarity between all people of African descent. It is based on the belief that unity is vital to economic, social, and political progress and aims to unify and uplift people of African descent. The ideology asserts that the fate of all African peoples and countries are intertwined. At its core, Pan-Africanism is a belief that African peoples, both on the continent and in the diaspora, share not merely a common history, but a common destiny. That means we gotta work together. So many times we come to the table with numerators that divide us, but never deal with the common denominator that binds us together. Those are the conversations we need to have, not just here internally, but globally. There's Africans in diaspora, not just in Africa, but all over the world. Did y'all know that? And if I had more time, I could show you all the reports so you can contact me and you can see all the programs that's involved in taking all these resources for all of us in diaspora. Did you know that there's more Africans from diaspora in Brazil than almost there is here in the U.S.? How many of y'all knew that?
Yeah, we knew that.
You did? But how many of y'all contacting them? How many of y'all get involved with your businesses and organizations? How many of y'all are making them privy about all the struggles that's going on here in America? How many of y'all going over there to empower them? So it's one thing to know, it's the second thing to act. Got it? You following me, family? All right, let's go. And here's one, the Pan-African Alliance, you can look that up. This is their symbol right here. But again, this signifies who we are, where we need to go. Not just where we came from or where we at, but where we going together, family. And this Black Empowerment Conference is a start. Got it? All right, let's move. A GSO, next slide. A GSO, I'm not going to read all of it, but a GSO is a grassroots support organization, and they're a specialized subset of intermediate non-governmental organization that provides services, allied support to local groups of disadvantaged rural or urban households and individuals. In its capacity as an intermediary institution, a GSO forges links between beneficiaries and the often remote levels of government, donor, and financial institutions, and may also provide services indirectly to other organizations that support the poor or perform coordinated or networking services indirectly to, indirectly to other organizations that support the poor, perform, I'm messing it up here, networking functions, Martinez 2008 defines GSOs as developmental NGOs, non-governmental organizations, providing services and resources that enhance the capacity of impoverished communities and their organizations to build sustainable alternatives to their challenging life conditions. And yet, none of y'all know any of these even exist.
Right.
This is what's going to help drive everything that we're doing here today.
You're right.
This is the collective mind or the hive mind that's going to drive everything that we're doing here today. So everybody in our community, because mostly all of our inner city black communities are impoverished. There's a high employment rate. There's a high crime rate. When you have these in there, that helps to resolve that. You know why? Because it brings aid on a much broader scale to your community, family. And if you don't know about one, create one. Right. And if you need help on how to create one, contact me. I don't have time to go into it. But it shows you they're faster, the faster the long-term empowerment of impoverished populations by assisting them in decision-making and the mobilization of resources and political power. This is the think tank in our local communities. Located in a non-governmental sector, GSOs are formal organizations independent from both the state and private sector, but concerned with public interest issues relevant to those two sectors. They are voluntary, self-governed organizations, usually managed by professional, middle, and upper-class individuals who most likely are not of the same class or backgrounds as those with whom they work. Go to the next slide. And I'm going to say this in the point, family. We have to create incentivized programs to bring back the upper class who we send to college, who get ridiculed when they grown up in school. Oh, you a square. Oh, you going to college. Those same people go to college, get empowerment, get a degree or whatever, and they leave our community and never come back. And say, I ain't going back to the hood. Right. How are we incentivizing our programs just like this to bring those people here to bring and tap into their resources to help build up what we're talking about today? Okay, I'm gonna get into this a little bit. The UN Resolution 6916. Did you know that there's an international discussion about the people of African diaspora that was adversely affected by the transatlantic slave trade and slavery? How many of y'all knew about this decade of 10 years? You people. How many of y'all actually going to the UN to tap into this? Nobody. I've been there. I'm going to show you. I have a video where I actually went there and I actually did an entire, I don't know what to call it, but I was talking about the Ark of Return. You're going to see what it is. The Ark of Return, that they actually built a memorial there to remind everybody that comes to the UN what happened to us. And guess what? I'm the only person in our community that's ever did that. That went there and actually did a whole video on that. Nobody's allowed to do that. But there's a reason why that happened. Even though I got kicked out eventually. But I did it because I wanted to bring it back to y'all. But a lot of y'all don't even know about this. But I'm going to empower y'all. But let's go. Next slide. Let's go. 2015 to 2024. After this time period is over, the discussion about us in the African diaspora adversely affected by transatlantic slave trade is not going on no more in the UN. They're not talking about it no more. So if you don't take advantage of this within those 10 years, you can forget about any kind of international aid. Did you hear what I just said? After 10 years is up, you can forget about the conversation being on the table about international aid coming to our plight and struggles here in America. Okay, nobody, I don't, are y'all awake? Are y'all following me? Right? So the initiatives is recognition, justice, and development. This is what they have on the table. They have initiatives to help us today, but we don't know nothing about it. But I'm telling you about it so you can access it. Next slide. Look what just went on this past couple days. I had a representative go out there to represent my organization so we can get this information back to y'all. It says, the United Nations Department of Public Information is pleased to invite you to the commemoration of the International Day of Remembrance of the Victims of Slavery and the Transatlantic Slave Trade, which is March 24th of every year. They have a date set aside to acknowledge the atrocities that they committed upon us internationally and to bring this information to every member state with the UN. But guess what? We are not even there. Damn. Right? General Assembly, they have a commemorative meeting, then after that, cultural and culinary experience, where people in our community like this go there and bring our culture, our information, everything to other black people who are unaware of this information. On an international level. It's not just us here. It's Africans in the diaspora all over the world that's coming to these meetings, family. That's networking right there for us. Damn. We talking about black power, we not global. Next slide. Look what else they had. The transatlantic slave trade and the socio-economic contributions of people of African descent. You know, do you know how, not just advanced, but how accomplished many of us are here? And the information that we bring, the services, goods, the intellectual property that we have, but yet nobody on the international level is hearing our story. We're not showing up here. We need to know about this stuff. Right? Organized by the Remember Slavery Program in partnership with the NGO Relations, Advocacy, and Special Events section. Next slide. Right? This is called the Ark of Return. This is what they actually have there at the UN right now. And this was created by a Haitian. They got a Haitian guy to do it for them. I've got his name. His name is up there. It's Leon something. And he actually created this memorial right there that they have sitting there right in front of the UN. So as you walk in, I don't know how many of y'all been to the UN. It's in New York City. As you walking into the UN, you see it memorial right here, but nobody's over there saying to everybody, come over here and look at it. When they give you tours of the UN, they go over there and they show you this ark for like 5 minutes and they walk away. Nobody says they give you a full in-depth history. Why is this here? What is this about? They touch on it like this and they keep it moving. And most of the people that tell you about it are not even black. Right. So they can't even relate. Wow. So that's why they treat it like that, family, with case studies to them. But you know what I did? Go back and look at my video right here, Divine Prospect on the Grounds of the United Nations. And you go back and see my video where I was right there where you see this ark is, right here. I was there bringing this information back to all of us here today. Next slide. All right, and I'm gonna go over a little bit of these. I can't do all of it, but if you go to the website, 2015-2024 International Decade for People of African Descent, they openly tell you exactly what the purpose of this program is. And they do the recognition, the right to equality and non-discrimination. Again, family, this is not the local level, this is not the state level, this is not the federal level, this is the international level. We have to circumvent all of these systems that are not put in place to assist us and use this as war crimes. We're prisoners of war, family, behind enemy lines. And you can appeal to that. And this helps you with that, family. Did y'all know that? I'm gonna read a few things here so you can see. Remove all obstacles that prevent their equal employment of all human rights, economic, social, cultural, civil, and political, including the right to development. Promote the effective implementation of national and international legal frameworks. International legal frameworks? So we can appeal to an international community for all the atrocities that they're doing to us here in America? Did y'all know that? And this program's here only for 10 years, and if you don't take advantage of it, you can forget about it. Okay. Slow down. Okay, sorry. I know I was pressed on time, so. All right. Undertake a comprehensive review of domestic legislation. A comprehensive review of domestic legislation. So now they're talking about policy that adversely affects us here. And with a view to identifying and abolishing provisions that entail direct or indirect discrimination. Are y'all seeing this? This is the conversation that's going on and none of us is there. I went twice to get some of this information back for y'all. Provide effective protection for people of... Let me read that again. Provide effective protection for people of African descent and review and repeal all laws that have a discriminatory effect on people of African descent facing multiple, aggravated, or intersecting forms of discrimination. Damn. Are y'all reading this?
Yes. Yes.
Education and on equality and awareness raising. Celebrate the launch of the International Decade at the national level and develop national programs of action and activities for the full and effective implementation of the decade. You would think that the U.S. will have a huge program, but you know why they don't? Because most of us don't even know about this. And you know why we don't know? Because they're not promoting it. It's not on TV. Why would they tell you they're doing all of this for you? But they have to find some way to wash the blood off their hands. So they say, you know, we're going to throw a little program out there, and whoever figures out about it, they can take advantage of it. But we know most of them are asleep. We know most of them don't even care. Are you following me, family? Okay. Organize national conferences and other events aimed at triggering an open debate and raising awareness on the fight against racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and related intolerance with the participation of all relevant stakeholders, including government, civil society representatives, and individuals or groups of individuals who are victims. Promote greater knowledge and recognition of and respect for the culture, history, and heritage of people of African descent. Promote the positive role that political leaders and political parties, leaders and religious communities, and the media could further play in fighting racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and related intolerance by inter alia, publicly recognizing and respecting the culture, history, and heritage of people of African descent. Next slide. Come on, family. Come on. Information gathering in accordance with this program, paragraph 92 of the Durban Program of Action states should collect, compile, analyze, disseminate, and publish reliable statistical data at the national and local levels and take all other related measures necessary to assess regularly the situation of people of African descent who are victims of racism, racial discrimination, and related intolerance. Damn. Wow. Access to justice. Access to justice. Introducing messages to ensure equality before the law, notably in the employment of the right to equal treatment before the tribunals and all other organs administrating justice. Designing, implementing, and enforcing effective measures to eliminate the phenomenon properly known as racial profiling. Ensuring the people of African descent have full access to effective protection and remedies through the competent national tribunals and other state institutions against any acts of racial discrimination, and the right to seek from such tribunals just and adequate reparation or satisfaction for any damage suffered as a result of such discrimination. Damn, next slide. Next slide. All right? Some more. Facilitating access to justice for people of African descent who are victims of racism by providing the requisite legal information about their rights and providing legal assistance when appropriate. Okay. Calling upon all states concerned to take appropriate, all states, so that means not just America, all states. You can get other states involved in what's going on here, and they're putting this on the table. Next slide. Development. Right to development and measures against poverty. This is what they're talking about, and this is what they're affording to us. But most of us are not even aware of this. But it's okay, I got y'all. All right? Ensure that quality education is accessible and available in areas where communities of African descent live, particularly in rural and marginalized communities, which is the hood, with attention to improving the quality of public education. Take measures to ensure that public and private education systems do not discriminate against or exclude children of African descent, and that they are protected from direct or indirect discrimination, negative stereotyping, stigmatization, and violence from peers or teachers. To this end, training and sensitization should be provided to teachers, and measures should be taken to increase the number of teachers of African descent working in educational institutions. Damn, we got some great scholars in here, but none of us is in universities. And the elders that we're doing, they did it, but now the younger ones, we're having a much more difficult time. But when we appeal to this, and we're part of an organization that appeals to this resolution, we get access. Are y'all listening to me?
Yes.
Okay. Employment. States should take concrete measures to eliminate racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and related intolerance in the workplace against all workers, in particular people of African descent, including migrants, and ensure the full equality of all before the law, including labor law, and eliminate barriers where appropriate to participation in vocational training, collective bargaining and employment, contracts, and trade union activity. Access to judicial and administrative tribunals dealing with grievances, seeking employment in different parts of their country of residence, and working in safe and healthy conditions. Next slide. Health. States should take measures to improve access to quality health services to people of African descent. That means if you can't get Obamacare or whatever else is out there, Medicaid, Medicare, you can access this, and they have to open up the door and let you in. But we don't know about this, but now we do. Housing. Recognizing the poor and insecure housing conditions in which many people of African descent live, states should develop and implement policies and projects as appropriately aimed at inter alia, ensuring that they gain and sustain a safe and secure home and community in which to live in peace and dignity. Every member state, including the U.S., has to put programs in place in order for us to access all of this. Are y'all feeling me?
Yes.
Y'all got me?
Yes.
Okay, family. Next slide. This is just a transcript of the actual resolution, and it goes more into depth about the things that I touched on, but y'all can look at that another time. Next slide. All right? The UN Fellowship Program for People of African Descent. What I want y'all to do when you get home, go to YouTube, type this in, and look this up. You got it?
No.
And when you got it? Okay, if not, it'll be recorded. Look this up and watch the video and see all of our black sisters and brothers that are part of this fellowship program and what they're doing to help bring awareness internationally about the things that's happening to us in America. And you can also get a shot at this. Yo, somebody in here. Okay, next slide. The fellowship program for people of African descent provides the participants with an intensive learning opportunity to deepen their understanding of the United Nations human rights system, instruments, and mechanism with a focus on issues of particular relevance to people of African descent. Once you get somebody on this board, they can take all that information, bring it back to you, and now they can tell you how to effectively organize and strategize on how to bring this to the member state, which is the U.S., that we currently are behind enemy lines in. Okay? It says, instruments and mechanism with a focus on our people. The fellowship program will allow the participants to better contribute to the protection and promotion of civil, political, economic, social, and cultural rights of people of African descent in their respective countries. And the framework of the program activities and implementation of the International Decade for People of African Descent this year, blah, 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 it's going to be held the 13th of November to the 1st of December 2017 in Geneva, Switzerland. And if you get picked, they fly you out there. And all the information, I can't really go into it, it tells you how to apply. Please, family, we need somebody from our community to get on here. I'm trying to lobby with my organization to get me on there, but it's a very stringent process. But if more of us are doing it, somebody's gonna get lucky or fortunate and get on this and bring all this information back to us. We gotta do this, family. We can't keep shouting Black Power in our home. We can't keep shouting Black Power at events like this. We can't keep shouting Black Power in the US when there's other services that can better help us bring it on a global scale. So anytime they infringe upon any of our rights here in America, it's a human rights violation, and the whole international community has to get involved. Those Black girls that are missing, and we were organized, and we was appealing to this resolution, the international community had to get involved. We don't have to wait for the FBI. We get other member states to come in involved and say, well, what's going on with these Black children? This is a human rights violation under international law. Not the federal, where the FBI say, no comment. You got me? Yep. Next slide. Now, we have to, once we are organized at the grassroots support organization, or if you have an NGO, non-governmental organization, or if you got a 501c3, or if you got an LLC, whatever organization you have, the important thing is now we got to start doing international trade agreements with African nations. All of us in here has the genius capacity to create or promulgate some type of IP or intellectual property in the form of goods, services, or products where we can go and encourage African nations to do business with us. How confident are you in your product? Don't just try to sell it to me here, sell it to an African nation, to an African government. Impress me and do that. And if you can do that, then you open the door for everybody else. This is a vicarious victory. Who's willing to volunteer to do this, family? And if you don't know where to start, I got you. I got you. Yeah. Next slide. First annual Pan-African Global Trade Conference report. Did y'all know there was an annual Pan-African Global Trade Conference?
No.
Damn. And all we in here is talking about trade amongst ourselves. All we in here is talking about, I'm patronizing you. That's great. But family, we have to take it higher, family. If we take it higher, we can go and take our products anywhere in the world. In the world. The African U.S. Chamber of Conference, did y'all know that existed? The African U.S. Chamber of Conference has successfully conducted a 2-day Pan-African Globe Trade Conference at California State University, blah, blah, blah. The African Marketplace Incorporated, the California State Senate, Dictionary, blah, 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 blah. The first annual Pan-African Global Trade Conference provided important information about trade and commerce with African and the African diaspora for small business owners and students. This landmark event in Southern California covered topics designed to help existing and new small businesses get started in international trade and commerce in Africa and with Africa from the U.S. Did y'all know about that?
No.
Damn. Come on, family. We got to get involved. I mean, I hope y'all not sleeping in here, but okay. Hopefully one person got this and they're gonna do something about it, all right? That's right. Let's go to the next slide. No, wait, go back. Let me read this real quick. That's like the last slide. All right, let me read this. It says, we were able to use the conference to present and discuss African diaspora mobilization initiatives. That means if you don't even know the first thing about trade, they got initiative programs to teach you all of this. And sometimes for free. Okay. It says, being developed by the African Union. The African Union is developing these programs for us. Did y'all know that? They're trying to help y'all out. Y'all the 6th region of the AU. Okay. by African Union, the World Bank, and the 6th Region African Diaspora Caucus, and their potential for providing viable opportunities for bilateral, these back and forth, across the board, trade and commerce between Africa, the state of California, and the African diaspora. The information we gathered during the conference will also further our efforts to support and inform the creation of a California State Commission on Trade with Africa to promote and facilitate bilateral trade, commerce, and foreign direct investment between the state of California, the African diaspora, and the nation states of Africa. This is all being done for us, family. And if you didn't know, now you know. Let's take it to the next level. Next slide. I'm almost done. The African Union, the Diaspora Division. So many of y'all didn't even know that the African Union actually has a Diaspora Division that's here to help you. They're here to help you. They want to know, what do you have that can contribute to the Pan-African movement locally and abroad? And if you got something, we're going to invest in you. Do y'all see this?
Yes, indeed.
Pan-Africanism in the 60s and 70s inspired this. How many of you know about Nkrumah? Kwame Nkrumah, raise your hand. Ghana. He's the one that helped initiate a lot of this. You know why? Because we inspired him. We inspired him. And imagine if each one of us here can get in contact with them and inspire them some more. To show them that everything that we're offering here, we want to bring it to Africa to build y'all up. So then in return, the governments can watch out for us. Family, are you following me? Okay. Hopefully you're on amazement and all something like that. I'm hoping that's what it is. And nobody's sleeping. But all of this can help you tomorrow. Everything in here can help you tomorrow. Go back and read the slides, or you can contact me at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com, and I'll send you all the information you need if you can't find it on your own. All right? Last slide. Let's go to it. The Diaspora Division of the African Union. Listen to this. The Diaspora Division is under the Directorate Office of the Department. It takes directives and instructions from the Directorate Office. The African diaspora refers to the communities throughout the world that are descended from the historic movement of peoples from Africa, predominantly from the Americas, Europe, and the Middle East, among other areas around the globe. With regard to historic migrations, forced and voluntary, the African Union defines the African diaspora as consisting of people of African origin living outside the continent irrespective of their citizenship and nationality. Doesn't matter if you're a citizen. And who are willing to contribute to the development of the continent and the building of the African Union. We talking about we Pan-African, right? We say that? We say we're Pan-African. Then this is what we need to be doing. This is who we need to be talking to. This is who we need to bring what we're talking about here, what we're selling here, what we're marketing here, what we're teaching. This is who we need to take it to. Okay? And the building African. Thus, the Diaspora Division serves as the focal point and hub for implementing the African Union decision to invite and encourage the African diaspora to participate in the building and development of the African continent. Its main task, therefore, is to serve as a catalyst for rebuilding the global African family and the service of the development and integration agenda of the continent. Within this context, it serves as a counterpart of the civil society division of the diaspora. As such, it carries out responsibilities that its counterpart performs for civil society for the diaspora. These include, listen, mainstreaming diaspora participation in the African Union agenda across departments, partnership frameworks, and the wide range of policy activity, including the flagship Agenda 2063. Strengthening the operational capacity of the African Union to support diaspora involvement in AU activities through regular communication and flow of information on AU events and activities, and vice versa, cross-fertilization of AU program with diaspora activities and mapping of African diaspora around the world. Serving as focal point for the accreditation of diaspora organization. They can accredit your organization. And networks as observers, delegates, and participants at AU Summit and other meetings. You can get here, family. And they're willing to help you with that. Managing and coordinating other forms of interaction between the AU and diaspora organizations worldwide, enabling participation of diaspora and CSO pre-summit forums, and promoting effective collaboration between diaspora civil society organization and approximate bodies on the continent. Interfacing the African diaspora with the work of different departments of the AU Commission and their programs and efforts. The program of activities are however adapted to the context in which the program of the diaspora participants and EU activities of the diaspora division developed within the context of the protocol on the amendment to the Constitutive Act of 2003. Everything that I'm saying, go back and research it. You can look this up. It's online for free. I'm not here to sell this to you. I'm giving this to you for free. Next slide. Summary and conclusion, and I'm done. Instead of me doing it, can somebody out there give me a summary and conclusion? So I need to make sure that you're taking in what I'm saying. This is very important. Anybody raise your hand? Somebody, anybody? Oh yeah, you can turn the lights on now because I'm finished. I need one person, family. I just hope what I share with you can help you tomorrow. You understand? But I just want to make sure that it's not falling in vain. Can one person come up here? You don't have to say a lot, and just give us a summary and conclusion.
We got one more right here.
One person? All right, cool. Thank you.
Beautiful black people, love yourself. Come on now. Come on now.
Summary conclusion. From what I heard, it sounds like there's an extreme amount of international help that's out there for us for the next 10 years minimum. Well, maximum. It sounds like. And there's really no reason not to take advantage of it sooner than later. I know I'm absolutely intentional. I just sent you an email.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, let's get on board. You know, we're like I said, we're talking about doing the most for ourselves, Black Power, Black Empowerment, and one of it seems like a pretty streamlined route to that on an international level. So we're not just relying on whatever help we can get from our previous oppressors. You know. So
Thank you, my brother.
Give him a round of applause, family.
Hold on, y'all. I know we might have forgot from yesterday, but when we clap, we stand up.
There you go.
We go like this. Come on now. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Come on now.
Give the brother a round of applause, family. And if this has helped you, give yourselves a round of applause. And if you want to take advantage of it, give yourselves a round of applause. And if you're going to keep screaming Black Power, then stop doing it in our backyard and start doing it overseas. Ashe? All right, with that, family, I want to say I love you. Hope I didn't take up too much of your time. Peace, power, shalom, and Black Power, family. Black